GearNetwork.com.
The following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I believe it's a big challenge for our building to keep things in perspective and to, if we're going to get addicted to anything, let's get addicted to the process.
And with that, we welcome you to Trust the Podcast, episode number 124. The Buffalo Bills at the Cincinnati Bengals. I am Ryan Wolfe at Wolfe BLTD, running solo on the podcast today here on episode 124. Here to bring you up to date at the latest of what's going on. I know earlier this week myself, John Cimino, head of Gear Network, we and co-host of the podcast, decided to put all podcast efforts on hold after the just unbelievable situation that took place on Monday Night Football, seeing Damar Hamlin incapacitated with an injury to that caused cardiac arrest. We've all heard the story at this point in time. We know that Damar Hamlin is awake. His breathing tube has been removed. He is speaking. He has been talking to the team. He FaceTimed with the team earlier on Friday, and it seems like those guys are ready to run through a brick wall on Sunday. So we wanted to kind of bring you up to speed real quick on this very, very abridged edition of the podcast. Again, in case you missed it, the Week 17 matchup between the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals, I almost said Cleveland, Cincinnati Bengals, has been ruled a no contest. The game has been vacated, and there will be no game played between those two teams. With that being said, that throws everything kind of up into a bit of an uproar in terms of how the playoffs are going to shape out. So, with that being said, the National Football League, just a little while ago here on Friday afternoon, approved a resolution modifying this year's playoffs. The possibility of a neutral site AFC Championship game and a coin flip to determine where a Bengals-Ravens wildcard game would take place, depending in part, obviously, on what happens in Week 18. So, the important part for us here on the podcast. If the Buffalo Bills win on Sunday, that either means the Buffalo Bills will be hosting a potential AFC Championship game between the Kansas City Chiefs and themselves, or the Buffalo Bills will play the Kansas City Chiefs in a neutral site. Now, the reason that's taking place is because it ultimately comes down to feeling like a punishment for the Buffalo Bills as to what happened, the uncontrollable circumstances of Monday night. It's not really fair to the Buffalo Bills to say, oh, well, this happened, so you're SOL, and now you have to play in Kansas City. So again, with that being said, the NFL put this out based on winners of Week 18. The three games we look at are Kansas City at Las Vegas on Saturday, New England at Buffalo on Sunday, Baltimore at Cincinnati also on Sunday. If Kansas City, Buffalo, and Baltimore win, it's Kansas City, Buffalo, Cincinnati, 1, 2, 3. And I believe in that situation, if the wild card game plays out that way, there will be a coin flip as to who is going to be the home team for the Bengals or Ravens. Please don't quote us on that one. We're only focused on the Bills here. If Kansas City, Buffalo, and Cincinnati win, again, same thing. It'll be a Buffalo-KC neutral site matchup with KC being the 1 seed. If New England were to win on Sunday, the Buffalo-Kansas City potential AFC Championship game in the future would be in Kansas City. Aside from that, really the only difference would be is if Vegas won on Sunday and then Buffalo, or Vegas won on Saturday, Buffalo wins on Sunday, Buffalo would be the 1 seed, and all AFC title games would come through Buffalo, including a Buffalo-KC potential AFC title game. The only other change here would be is if Vegas, New England, Baltimore win, neutral site for Buffalo-KC. If Vegas, New England, and Cincinnati win, it's a neutral site for Buffalo and Kansas City, or Kansas City and Cincinnati. So there are a few scenarios. There will not be a test at the end of this. Essentially, in a nutshell, I believe Jeremy White of WGR pointed this out, that if the Buffalo Bills happen to win on Sunday, which again, I would, most people are expecting it at this point, a Buffalo Bills win on Sunday ensures that the Buffalo Bills do not need to play in Kansas City to make it to the Super Bowl because of the circumstances. Some people will be upset as to the way that works out because you may think, hey, that benefits Buffalo. Because we've heard some rumblings it will not be Detroit where the Bills and the Chiefs would ultimately play, or the Chiefs and the Bengals would ultimately play, if necessary. It would either be Atlanta or it would be Indianapolis, just because of availability's sake. Either way, Dome Stadium, it ultimately is a neutral site because you can control the elements, and that might ultimately be an absolutely fantastic game with absolutely fantastic conditions. But after seeing what's been coming out of the Buffalo Bills locker room, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a lifelong Bills fan, but there really only seems to be one thing left, and that's go win the whole goddamn thing, you know? Push through New England, get to the playoffs, because here's the thing, too, is that it's going to be hot and heavy in the next few weeks. There's going to be a lot going on, a lot of moving parts. The playoffs are intense. This is going to be a lot of fun, a lot of pressure, but from the lowest of lows to the highest of highs the Buffalo Bills have experienced this week, Deion Dawkins came out and said that this bonded the team like super glue, essentially. So, unfortunately for the New England Patriots this weekend, they are walking into a buzzsaw. The atmosphere at Highmark Stadium on 1 p.m. Sunday, it will probably be unlike an atmosphere we've ever seen in Buffalo. Possibly ever, I would have to say. I'm not even being hyperbolic here. We may never see an atmosphere like this again because the fans have been emotionally charged. The players are emotionally charged. The coaches are emotionally charged. The medical staff is emotionally charged. The athletic staff is emotionally charged. Everybody is ready to go out on Sunday and put up a big, fat dub for Damar Hamlin and his family and all the doctors who have been helping take care of him, help save his life, help nurse him back to health. Again, he still is considered to be critically ill. He still is in intensive care as of time of this quick podcast here, but he is improving, and that ultimately is the most important thing, because at the end of the day, this is just football. That's all. A man's life was almost lost on Monday night. Thankfully, there were the proper people in the proper place at the proper time with the proper training as to accomplish what was reported as by the doctors a textbook situation of resuscitation and getting Damar Hamlin to the hospital and ultimately saving his life. So with that being said, we'll look forward very quickly to the Sunday game. The Buffalo Bills host the New England Patriots at Highmark Stadium Sunday at 1 p.m. on CBS. There are playoff implications for the New England Patriots, but I ultimately think they might want to look elsewhere to see if they can get some help from other teams, because I'm not sure Buffalo's going to be too helpful or very much in the giving mood on Sunday. There's always a chance they could fall flat, but I would have to think after how this week has played out, if there were to be anything aside from a comfortable victory, people would be surprised. So, apologize to you, New England, for the team you're about to walk into, but my prediction, and I think the prediction of many throughout Western New York, throughout the United States of America, throughout the football land, and Bills Mafia as well, is the Bills by $1 billion +3. I just thought about that because I'm so cute. With that being said, though, as always, I am Ryan Wolfe at Wolfe BLTD. We will be back same time, same place next week. Myself, John Cimino, to discuss Week 18, to discuss the Super Bowl, the playoffs, whatever, the big game, the playoffs toward the big game. I don't want to get sued here. But as always, we are Trust the Podcast. You are not. We will catch you sometime very soon. And as always, my friends, go Bills.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.